Over 80% of vehicle operators commit errors without realizing it. And these mistakes could be reducing the lifespan of their automatic automobile. You might be responsible for some of these actions too. These minor habits you practice could be generating more harm than you realize. Today, we are revealing 15 foolish errors that are destroying automatic automobiles every day. Committing even one of these could be a $5,000 repair expense before you realize it. Error number 15. Transitioning from reverse to drive without halting. So many individuals transition from reverse to drive or vice versa while the automobile is still moving. Terrible idea. This forces the transmission to abruptly alter the direction of power distribution, placing tremendous strain on internal parts like clutches and gears. Gradually, you will deteriorate the transmission early, leading to major breakdown and thousands in repairs. You are in a rush, backing out of a space, and you pull the shifter into drive while still moving backward. Congratulations. You just forced your transmission to slam the brakes on itself and alter direction mid-motion. That is not operating. That is mechanical mistreatment. Every time you transition before halting, you are requesting clutch packs and gears to battle each other. The transmission does not care that you are delayed. It just begins breaking down from the interior. 1 second of patience could preserve you $4,000. But most people learn that the difficult way when their automobile jerks, hesitates, or completely refuses to transition anymore. Always arrive to a complete halt before altering gears. It only requires a second, but it could add years to your transmission's lifespan. And if you consider that as terrible, wait until you discover what this following error does to your air conditioning arrangement. Error number 14, disregarding the recirculation button. Most operators have no concept what that small button with the circular arrow performs. Or worse, they understand what it performs and still disregard it. That is the recirculation button. And utilizing it incorrectly is costing you money and destroying your air conditioning arrangement faster than you realize. This is what occurs. On a scorching summer day, you activate the air conditioning with fresh atmosphere mode on. Your air conditioning is now attempting to cool down 95-degree outside atmosphere instead of the 75-degree atmosphere already inside your cabin. That makes your compressor operate 3 times harder, consumes more fuel, and deteriorates your air conditioning parts years earlier than they should. I have observed air conditioning compressors break down at 60,000 miles because individuals never utilized recirculation. The compressor was operating at maximum capacity every individual time, overheating and gradually destroying itself. Replacing an air conditioning compressor, you are examining at $800 to $1,500 depending on the automobile. But this is the opposite side. Leave recirculation on all the time, and you are generating a different difficulty. Moisture accumulates inside the cabin. Your windows become foggy. And in winter, you are recycling humid atmosphere that makes defrosting unachievable. Plus, you are breathing the identical stale atmosphere over and over, which is not excellent for long drives. The rule is simple. Scorching day, recirculation activated to cool faster and defend your air conditioning. Cold day or foggy windows. Fresh atmosphere mode to eliminate moisture and enhance visibility. Your air conditioning arrangement was not formulated to cool outside atmosphere constantly, provided a break, and it will persist twice as long. And trust me, if you are disregarding this, you are likely disregarding your fuel gauge too. Error number 13, operating on empty. In most automobiles, the fuel pump resides inside the gas tank, and it depends on fuel to remain cool. When you are operating low, that cooling effect vanishes. Gradually, this can reduce your pump's lifespan, making it a costly repair. That fuel indicator has been illuminated for 3 days, and you are still continuing it. You consider you are preserving a trip to the gas station, What you are genuinely performing is gradually destroying your fuel pump. The fuel pump sits inside your gas tank submerged in fuel. That gas cools it down and maintains it lubricated. Operate low all the time and the pump is revealed to atmosphere operating hot and dry. Then there is the sediment. When you are close to empty, you agitate all the debris sitting at the tank's bottom. This grit can obstruct your fuel filter and damage performance. Worst case, it harms other components of your fuel arrangement too. One obstructed injector can generate misfires and rough idling. A complete set of replacements, that is another $600 to $1,200. Replacing a fuel pump, you are examining at $400 to $800, depending on the automobile. So maintain that tank above a quarter full to defend your pump. And this is a bonus. Operating on empty in winter can generate condensation inside your tank. That water freezes in your fuel lines and abandons you stranded in the cold. The fuel in your tank performs more than power your automobile. It also cools your fuel pump. Operating on low fuel consistently generates the pump to overheat and can introduce atmosphere into the arrangement. That impacts the engine and indirectly stresses the transmission too, particularly if sensors are not receiving accurate information. And discussing warnings you should not disregard, this following one illuminates your dashboard for a reason. Error number 12, disregarding dashboard warning indicators. If you are operating around with the check engine indicator on it like it is no significant deal, you are requesting trouble. That indicator is your automobile, waving a red flag saying, "Hey dummy, something is incorrect." But too many people treat it like background sound. An individual rolled into my shop with smoke emerging from the hood. Said the indicator had been illuminated for 2 months. Turns out his catalytic converter was destroyed, and so was his wallet. Sometimes it is a loose gas cap. Other times, it is a misfire, low oil pressure, or a failing oxygen sensor. You will not understand unless you scan it. Disregarding it is like covering your ears when the fire alarm activates. According to AAA, disregarding warning indicators is one of the most common reasons for roadside breakdowns. You would not disregard a flashing oil indicator, so do not disregard any of them. Beyond the usual check engine indicator, others are valuable for your attention. The transmission temperature indicator warns of overheating, which risks serious harm. The oil pressure warning signals a lubrication issue that could deteriorate your engine fast. And the battery warning indicator, if it is illuminated, you might encounter charging issues and risk becoming stranded. These indicators are not just alerts, but early warnings to preserve you from bigger expenses. Error number 11, not utilizing the parking brake. Many operators consider automatic automobiles do not require the parking brake, but this is the truth. When you park without engaging the handbrake, the complete weight of your automobile rests on the parking pole, a tiny metal pin inside your transmission. Gradually, this can generate internal harm or breakage, particularly when parked on a slope. Most individuals consider the parking brake is optional in an automatic. Incorrect. That pin was not constructed to be a parking spot. It was constructed as a backup. It is about the size of your pinky finger, and it is holding back 4,000 pounds. Park on a hill without the handbrake, and you are stressing that pal every individual time. Eventually, it deteriorates down, cracks, or snaps. Then your automobile rolls. Even on flat ground, engine mounts and bushings receive extra strain when the pal is performing all the work. There is also no guarantee that the lock pin will not eventually break down. I have observed parking pals break after years of mistreatment. The automobile rolls into traffic, another vehicle, or worse, and the repair, you are pulling the transmission apart just to replace a $30 component that expenses $1,500 in labor. Utilize the parking brake every time. It supports your automobile and defends your transmission. It is not just for emergencies. It is how you defend the transmission from performing a job it was never formulated to handle. But even with perfect parking habits, this following error will destroy everything from the interior. Error number 10, coasting in neutral. Coasting in neutral is when you allow your automobile roll without any power from the engine, typically by transitioning the transmission into neutral while moving. Operators sometimes perform this on downhill stretches, believing it preserves fuel. Let us break down 3 significant reasons why coasting in neutral is not all it is presented to be. You are cruising downhill and you transition it into neutral to preserve gas. Sounds intelligent. It is not. Modern automobiles are way smarter than that. When you lift off the gas and gear, the engine eliminates fuel flow entirely, zero fuel entering. That is how you preserve gas. Transition into neutral, and the engine maintains idling, consuming fuel the complete way down. So you are genuinely wasting more, not less. First, it does not preserve fuel. In modern automobiles, when you are slowing down in gear, the automobile eliminates fuel flow on its own. So remaining in gear preserves you more than allowing the engine idle in neutral. Second, coasting in neutral reduces your control. In a split-second emergency, you will not possess the quick power to accelerate out of trouble. And third, it adds extra deterioration. Transitioning back into drive while your engine is idling is tough on your drivetrain. Plus, you are utilizing your brakes more frequently since the engine is not assisting slow you down. That means more brake deterioration gradually. Some operators perform this for years and wonder why their transmission begins slipping or their brakes deteriorate out twice as fast. Remain in gear. Allow the automobile operate the way it was formulated. If you are learning something here, press that appreciation button and subscribe. Error number 9, revving the engine when cold. This one I observe it every damn winter. Someone enters their automobile, starts it cold, and immediately slams the gas like they are in a Fast and Furious movie. Congratulations. You just removed years off your engine's lifespan in under 10 seconds. When your engine is cold, the oil is thick. It has not had time to circulate and defend the moving components. Revving it hard means metal-on-metal contact, increased deterioration, and zero lubrication where it matters most. When everything is cold, oil and transmission fluid are thick. They have not circulated yet. They have not reached all the moving components. I had a young person with a Mustang perform this every morning. Arrived 3 months later with piston slap and lifter noise. Guess what? That cold start display expends him nearly $5,000. You desire your engine to persist? Start it. Allow it idle 30 to 60 seconds. Operate easy for the first few miles. That is everything. So when you press the gas hard, pistons, bearings, gears, and clutch packs are grinding under stress with barely any defense. This is when most engine and transmission deterioration occurs during cold starts with heavy throttle. But now, some of you all treat it like a drag strip straight out of the driveway. And just when the engine finally warms up, some people go and destroy everything by performing this. Error number 8, operating in drive all the time, even on hills. Abandoning your automobile in drive on steep descents might seem normal, but it forces your transmission to handle excessive braking instead of utilizing engine compression. This overheats the transmission and deteriorates down your brake pads faster. You are cruising down a mountain road in drive, riding the brake pedal the complete way down. Your transmission is screaming on the interior and your brakes are cooking themselves into oblivion. This is the thing. Automatic transmissions possess lower gear modes for a reason. Utilize the L or 2 gear mode for hills. It assists control speed and preserves your transmission from unnecessary stress. L2 or S mode utilizes engine braking to control your speed without destroying your brakes or overheating your transmission. Remain in drive on a steep descent and your transmission has to operate over time managing heat and pressure. That fluid inside begins breaking down fast. Brakes glaze over, rotors warp. And when you finally require to halt hard, nothing is there. I have observed rotors glow red from individuals dragging brakes downhill for miles. One individual arrived after a mountain trip with warped rotors, glaze pads, and transmission fluid that smelled like burnt toast. Expense him $900 to repair what a simple downshift could have stopped. Following time, you are heading downhill, drop it into a lower gear. Allow the engine perform the work. But even if you transition perfectly, this following habit generates harm you cannot observe until it is too late. Error number 7, operating through deep water. Operating through deep water may seem harmless, but it is risky business. Your transmission possesses vents to release internal pressure, which is excellent until those vents begin allowing water in. This is the thing. In four-wheel drives, those vents are high up, so water rarely sneaks in. But on most regular automobiles, the vent sits low, right on the transmission itself. You observe a big puddle. You consider, hey, it is not that deep. So you accelerate it and send a wave over the hood. Seems cool until your transmission begins slipping 3 hours later. Operate through deep water, and you are inviting trouble. On most regular automobiles, those vents sit low, right on the transmission case. Operate through deep water, and those vents absorb in water like a straw. Once water combines with transmission fluid, it generates a thick, milky mess. That mess breaks down the adhesive holding your clutch packs together. Harmed clutch plates are almost guaranteed. And guess what? This harm can occur in hours. This is the kicker. Draining the fluid will not undo the harm. With water inside, the transmission begins slipping. Soon enough, it could break down. I have observed transmissions break down the identical day after going through deep water. One individual thought he was fine. Operated home, parked it. Following morning, no reverse. Transmission was destroyed. Expense him $4,200 to rebuild. So steer clear of deep water in a regular automobile. Remember the saying, oil and water do not combine. It is no different for your transmission. Error number 6, allowing oil changes slide. You would not go a year without brushing your teeth, correct? So why are you going 10,000 miles without an oil change? Oil is your engine's blood. When it breaks down, becomes dirty, or operates low, you are basically requesting your engine to destroy itself from the interior out. I have opened valve covers that appeared like someone filled the motor with roofing tar. Sludge everywhere. Cam lobes deteriorated smooth. Engine destroyed. All because someone forgot to alter the oil. Just like engine oil, transmission fluid breaks down gradually, but many operators never check it. I had a client swear his automobile was fine because the engine still operated. Correct. Until it seized up on the highway and abandoned him stranded. The $50 oil change he skipped transformed into a $3,800 engine replacement. Old fluid loses its lubrication ability, allowing heat and friction to tear up internal components. Most automobiles require fresh oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Check your manual, not social media, and stop considering synthetic persists forever. It does not. Check your fluid level and condition consistently. It should be bright red and clean, not dark or burnt smelling. Neglect your oil and you are just gradually murdering your engine. Consider neglecting oil is terrible? This following one might be even worse. Error number 5, disregarding transmission fluid condition. Just like engine oil, transmission fluid breaks down gradually, but many operators never check it. Old fluid loses its lubrication ability, allowing heat and friction to tear up internal components. Some manufacturers state transmission fluid is lifetime. Allow me translate that for you. They mean the lifetime of the transmission, which you just shortened by believing them. Transmission fluid breaks down. It becomes dirty. It collects metal shavings from gears grinding together. Once it degrades, it halts lubricating, halts cooling, and begins destroying everything inside your transmission. Check your fluid level and condition consistently. It should be bright red and clean, not dark or burnt smelling. Replace it every 30,000 to 60,000 miles, depending on your automobile model. I've cracked open transmissions at 100,000 miles and discovered sludge thick enough to destroy a shop rag. The owner but the dealer stated, I never had to alter it. Correct. And now they are staring at a $3,500 rebuild. Most automatics require fresh fluid every 40,000 to 60,000 miles. Some newer ones go longer, but none of them go forever. If your automobile does not possess a dipstick, that does not mean the fluid is magic. It just means you require a technician to check it. Dark fluid, burnt smell, or slipping transitions. That is your transmission begging for assistance. Alter the fluid before it is too late. Because once it begins slipping, you are not repairing it with a flush. You are replacing it. And discussing heat. This following error is cooking transmissions alive every individual day. Error number 4. Abandoning the automobile in drive at stoplights. Maintaining the automobile in drive seems fine when you are at a stoplight. But this is why transitioning to neutral is superior, particularly in the heat. When your automobile is in drive, the torque converter maintains operating even when halted. This movement generates heat as the transmission fluid slides. On a scorching day, this extra heat accumulates fast. Within minutes, the temperature can rise by 50 degrees, which strains your transmission as it attempts to cool. Heat is the #1 destroyer of automatic transmissions. Not miles, not age, heat. Transitioning into neutral assists fluids circulate more freely with no extra pressure from the torquey converter. Heat accumulation is reduced. This also stops deterioration and overheating on the transmission gradually. Your transmission shares cooling with the engine through the radiator. Low coolant, obstructed radiator, failing water pump, any of that. And your transmission is cooking itself from the interior out. Transmission fluid begins breaking down fast, above 200 degrees Fahrenheit. By 240 degrees Fahrenheit, it is destroyed. Clutches glaze, seals harden, and metal warps. And hey, if your torque converter is performing a bit shady, you understand something is incorrect. If your temp gauge ever climbs into the red, pull over immediately. Do not maintain operating. Do not consider you can make it home. You cannot. Check your coolant consistently. Replace it as required. Repair leaks the moment you spot them. Your transmission is one overheat away from complete breakdown. But if you consider heat is the only silent destroyer, wait until you observe what this following habit performs. Error number 3, overfilling oil. Some people consider, hey, more oil must be superior, correct? Incorrect. Dead incorrect. Overfilling your engine with oil is just as terrible, sometimes worse, than operating it low. I had an individual top off his oil because he thought he was being proactive. Ended up blowing out his rear main seal. Oil everywhere. Transmission soaked. $1,200 repair. All because he did not understand when to halt. When you overfill, the crankshaft begins whipping the oil into a frothy mess. That foam does not lubricate. It starves the bearings, destroys oil pressure, and can choke out the complete arrangement. And do not consider the dipstick is optional. That is your measuring stick, not your gut. Always check your oil level after an oil change or top off. Reach the line, not above it. Consider you are assisting your engine by adding more than it requires. You are not. You are drowning it, overfilling oil. That is one thing. What arrives following? It is entirely avoidable, but destroys everything anyway. Error number 2, warming up the automobile incorrectly. Many operators allow their automobile idle in park for 10 minutes to warm it up. but modern engines and transmissions warm up faster while operating gently, not idling. Prolonged idling just wastes fuel and increases engine deterioration. You desire to warm up your automobile? Excellent. But sitting there for 10 minutes in park is not assisting anyone. In cold weather, transmissions require extra attention. Unlike engines, they depend on hydraulic fluid. This fluid thickens as temperatures drop. Thick fluid does not flow easily. It slows transitioning, generating sluggish responses. Delays like this strain your transmission. If your automobile has been sitting overnight, provide the fluid a chance to warm up. Allow it circulate smoothly before you operate. Cold mornings are tough on automobiles, particularly transmissions. Start the automobile, wait 30 seconds, then operate gently. This assists both the engine and transmission reach optimal temperature quicker, not idling for 10 minutes. Just operate gently for the first few miles. High revs and hard launches before warm-up. That is a one-way ticket to deteriorated rings, blown seals, and slipping transmissions. And while we are discussing things that seem helpful but are not, let us discuss this following one. Error number 1. Not warming up your transmission. In cold weather, transmissions require extra attention. Unlike engines, they depend on hydraulic fluid. This fluid thickens as temperatures drop. Thick fluid does not flow easily. It slows transitioning, generating sluggish responses. Delays like this strain your transmission. If your automobile has been sitting overnight, provide the fluid a chance to warm up. Allow it circulate smoothly before you operate. When everything is cold, oil and transmission fluid are thick. They have not circulated yet. They have not reached all the moving components. Cold mornings are tough on automobiles, particularly transmissions. You start the automobile and immediately floor it out of the driveway like you are at a drag strip. Congratulations! You just starved your engine and transmission of the lubrication they desperately require. So when you press the gas hard, pistons, bearings, gears, and clutch packs are grinding under stress with barely any defense. Start it. Allow it idle for 30 seconds. Then operate easy until the temp gauge moves. It is not complicated. Consider it like stretching before a workout. Your automobile requires time to obtain its blood flowing too. Modern transmissions possess temperature sensors. They understand when fluid is cold. They adjust transition points to defend themselves, but they cannot defend against you flooring it from a cold start. If you discovered this helpful, wait until you observe what is following. Our following video reveals the maintenance secrets that will preserve you thousands and maintain your automobile operating strong for years. Press subscribe and remain tuned because your automobile deserves superior, and so does your wallet.